Well, Mick, looking forward to this one. It's fair to say the eyes of the football world focused on Waverley.
Oh, no doubt about that, Jared. I just can't wait for this game to get underway between two quality sides. And there's a St Kilda team. Robert Harvey, won't he play an important role today?
Yes, and he, along with the rest of the midfield of St Kilda, will, I think, determine this match. If they can play to their absolute potential, they should feed their key forwards like Lowe and Jason Heatley and David Tarakoski, a pretty tallish forward line, and get enough score. They need Aussie Jones to fire. Been named on a half-forward flank. Don't be surprised if he starts on a wing against Brad Johnson. And Gavin Mitchell's another great goal sneak. Nicky Winmar has been in outstanding form, and I guess it'll be either Daryl Wakeland or Maxie Hutchinson gets the major job on the Bulldogs star Chrissy Grant.
And here's Chris Grant as we speak. What an exciting player he is, and won't he play an important role in the context of today's game. He works hard extremely defensively, but more importantly, he does kick a lot of goals for the Western Bulldogs team. But as you say, the defensive attributes will Scott Wynn drift back and leave the run with role to Luke Darcy to play on Peter Everett, who does drift forward for the St Kilda team. There'll be exceptional matchups in midfield. Scott West, Jose Ramiro will play two pivotal roles in that part of the ground, but I'm tipping the Western Bulldogs to win today.
Yeah, it should be a great match between the two top sides. It's a battle for top position here on Footy's home ground. Stay with us. All the action after the break.
Moment, St Kilda are winning the toss and going to the right of screen. Croft has the job on Low. Terrific crowd, as we mentioned. Not capacity, but pretty close to it. So you would say between 50 and 60,000 here to see the battle for top spot between the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda. Oh, Everett and Wine go at it. Wine did well out of that contest to get a kick up the half forward. That's as far as it's going. Good Shepherd enables Young, who was in great form at the MCG last week, to kick long down towards full forward. Crowd looking for a free kick. There's none there. Dimartine are able to mop up, goes wide. Croft and Low again, and the ball safely over the boundary line. We say good afternoon to Dipper.
Yeah, thanks very much, Pete. And important choice for the doggies here, because this is about a 4-goal breeze and very strong conditions. And on the bench for the Bulldogs is Colin Yook, Montgomery, Curley and Brown. And for St Kilda, Lappin, Beveridge and Tim Elliott.
Harvey from Stewie Lowe into the goal square. Heatley, no mark, and touched through.
Well, a couple of early opportunities to Jason Heatley. That one he certainly should have taken. And what about that push, John, just to get you involved early?
No doubt Crediuk pushed him and should have been paid a free kick.
Probably a 3 or 4 goal breeze, as Dipper has suggested. Burke unable to get clear. Crediuk from left half back. Bullies working the ball up towards centre wing. Young and Southern. Good gather by Southern. Taken over the line by an even better tackle from Winmar, and wins the free kick.
Yeah, terrific chase and tackle by Nicky Winmar on that occasion. That's what you have to do to keep the ball in your forward 50-metre area.
Winmar looking for a lead across half forward. Low the target. Punch by Croft, not really effective, doesn't clear the zone. Ball scooped out to Harvey at half back. The ball, a juggle. 40 metres out, goes at goal, but misses, and one behind to the reigning Brownlow medalist.
And important to see Rob Harvey pushing deep into the forward line, and unfortunately that one didn't go through the big sticks as we have a look at Colin Yook and Brett Montgomery. Interesting, two very attacking players starting on the bench, but Rob Harvey, if he can get some early possessions up forward, will put the midfield of the Bulldogs in a more defensive frame of mind.
Kick out from Dent. West, two number 7s, confronted by Winmar. Dimartine slips over at the crucial moment, gets a free kick for on the shoulder.
Was tackled high, Peter. He certainly was lucky to get it, but certainly an arm over his shoulder. See as he goes down, that one. Nicky Winmar.
Dipper telling us earlier that the part of the ground over this side, where we don't see too much sun, is a lot more slippery than it is on the other side. So we may see a little bit of that during the course of the afternoon. Bounce at centre wing. Everett will play a big part here today. One of the real battles here this afternoon. Everett and Wind. Wind, a Brownlow medalist. Maybe Everett a possible one. Young's disposal could have been a little bit better. Dent. West ducks the head, confronted by Young. Wind shovels it out. Away go the Bullies now. It's taken by Smith. Strong mark.
And then a penetrating kick into the wind by Rowan Smith. He just took it upon himself to run forward as quickly as he possibly could and seen Grant free, but got some yardage with his foot disposal. Terrific kick to position by Rowan Smith, giving Chris Grant the opportunity to take an easy mark and now a chance to kick a goal.
Yeah, the forwards are going to know, Mick, today that this win is quite strong, so they've got to play in front because the ball's going to hold up, as we saw then.
It's gone out wide. Garlic closer to goal, but on an angle. Saints defence working well. Martin, who is named on the bench, back to Garlic. Measures an option, wasn't a good one. Burt chips in to take the mark. Plenty of distance with that. Up high was Dent. Aussie Jones coming back to some really good form. Low, great lead, terrific pass. Back to Mitchell. Low again. Heatley, pretty. Oh, great judgment. On Heatley.
That's 3 times now that Jason Heatley's been near the ball and hasn't been able to secure a possession. One, we have already seen that he should have been given that free kick, but this is a good start to the Bulldogs. The Saints would want to get a goal on the board pretty early.
4-goal breeze. Dent added the congestion to Southern, confronted by Everett. Hudson, the goal kicker, can't get past Mitchell. With the red boots, can he kick a goal? He can't. Zilla. Did he have prior opportunity? Thompson tries to barge through. Bulldogs defence really working well. West to Wirra. They run it up to midfield. Hudson gives it over to Johnson. No mark taken at half forward. I'll feel that for a while. Wakeland gets himself back up onto his feet. That's Darryl Wakeland.
There's Simon Mitten-Connell, who started on the bench very quickly onto the ground, going up but couldn't quite secure it.
Hudson goes one way, now the other. Shot at goal, ineffective, and the mark is taken by Shane Wakeland. That's Wakeland's in long sleeves. Cook with that new hairstyle, or hair colouring, unmistakable today, as is the talent of Nicky Winmar. Croft at the back of Lowe. Big punch towards the boundary line, won't quite get there. Winmar's tackle ineffective on that occasion. Picked up by Smith. Ramiro confronted, just gets his kick away in time. Young, in great form as he was last week at the MCG. Mitchell to Winmar. Outside 50, but with the breeze at his back, this should be a goal. All it has to do is sit into the goal square. Packet, first blood to the Saints. I suppose if you had Justin Peck to kick the first goal, you'd think, what odds was that, Jerry?
Well, you're right, Pete, but it was fantastic running, and it looks like he was bringing Luke Darcy down the ground, because it was Darcy that chased him all the way. But what has started is a very good battle on the half-forward flank between this man, Nicky Winmar, and Rowan Smith, who has got a defensive role on him. But he let him slip away from him, and he brought it down, and a good goal to Peckett.
Saints 1 goal 2, and the Bulldogs yet to score. St Kilda with the breeze. More of a breeze. Thompson, pretty strong northerly in Melbourne today. 15 to 20 knots. Mitchell off the ground. Covers about 20 metres. Southern, a little scoop up intended for Croft. Didn't find the target. Lower chance off the ground. Just misses to the right-hand side from behind.
There is some amazing matchups in midfield. Jose Ramiro, of course, has got the job on Robert Harvey. Scott West has been tagged by young Andrew Thompson. Also, Nathan Burke's picking up Brad Johnson. But the duel across the midfield with the wings, with Rowan Smith opposed to Nicky Winmar, and also young Garlick's got the job on Aussie Jones.
A couple of forward matchups. Sierakowski and Southern. This is St Kilda's forward line. Crediuk and Heatley, and Dent, the tough Dent on Healy.
He went over the line.
Yeah, certainly did, Pete. Exactly as you called it. And, Heatley pointing it out, but certainly David Howlett was aware of it anyway, so the ball will be bounced at the centre of the kick-off line. A bit going off while Dave Howlett's waiting for the footy to come back.
He's having a word or two here, but it's going to be a ball up.
At the other end of the ground, we've got Paul Hudson being picked up by Young, and Young's already had a number of possessions, as has Hudson.
Now Wine will try to punch it through. Low. Still in play. Wirra's there. Low. It'll be another ball. Almost on the identical spot.
It's fairly critical here for Scotty Wynn to play a defensive attitude, try to get the ball across the goal line, and maybe concede a point so they can restructure on the way back out.
He couldn't do it before. Let's see if he can do it this time. Everett comes in on the assist and wins it. Almost a high tackle there on Crediuk, not seen by the umpire, and we're going to have ball up number 3.
Well, Spider Everett learns as a dangerous player here. There is space between this pack and the goal line, and if it sits there, it's going to be problematic for the Bulldogs.
Heatley, a chance, confronted by Crediuk. Still keeps the ball in play, went past Mitchell onto West. Now they should be able to run it out. Smith. Out of bounds. Centre wing. 9 plays 0. St Kilda bench. Beveridge, Elliott. Bulldogs attack ranked first in the competition this year. Sierakowski went without the football. Now West from Smith. West again. Confronted by Winmar. Smith. Ramiro. Up to half forward. No, he doesn't score too many marks like that. That one was dipping on him just a little bit too much. Grant. Ramiro and Wakeland.
Good combination by Rowan Smith and Scotty West. Both players have started pretty well, in particular Rowan Smith.
Everett at the back to Winmar. Combination working well. Can the Bullies get something going here? Wirra gets it back again from Dent. Winmar off a step. Bombs it long with the breeze to half forward. Croft nearly nudges out low. Finished up with the ball and therefore the mark.
I think to be fair to Matthew Croft, he didn't realise the umpire had called that it was a mark before he'd pushed on John.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, his intention originally, I think, was to spoil, and then when the ball came back, he was confronted with the possibility of a mark.
Brad Wirra. Bulldogs still to open their account. Grant again got a mid to it, but couldn't complete the mark. Everett to Harvey. And they're getting about 10 metres more with their kicks going to the right. The Saints. Burke. Well inside 50. Heatley nearly the mark. Goes it goal. It's bouncing. It needs to take a right-hand turn. It didn't, so one behind. Kicked by Jason Heatley, his first score of the day.
And it was interesting then to see the difference between what Nathan Burke did. He went front and square to that contest, and across half forward, he played the percentages, got the ground level ball to give Heatley a chance to kick a goal.
Speaking of goals, behind the goals, Pete McKenna.
Yes, it's terrific to watch Steve Crediuk. He is an underrated player and tough and hard and doesn't give the full forward an easy kick. And Jason Heatley, Pete, is in for a pretty tough day.
Rowan Smith's kick to centre wing. Martin to West. Gilbert and Ferris Witter at Footscray for the Western Bulldogs. Wakeland.
And it's interesting, so far we haven't seen Peter Everett push into that forward line and create a goal.
Darryl Wakeland, Winmar to Everett. Wobbly kick off the boot. It's a foot race. Garlick and Aussie Jones. Garlick wins, takes it over the line before the St Kilda star can get to it.
Yeah, Simon Garlick just played the percentages on that occasion. All he did was get the ball across the boundary line so they could lift the fight another day. Good high percentage play.
I think most people thought coming into this game the great problem for the Bulldogs was if Everett pushed into the forward line. At the moment he's staying out and Wind is staying with him.
Sierakowski out-bustles Southern. Croft did well. And a rush behind.
One can already sense, Gerard, the speed of the Western Bulldogs team, especially out of the fence, is going to create some havoc over the duration of this game. It's just a matter of using the ball more effectively once they get to the midfield part of the ground and using the likes of Grant, Cook and also Minton Connell.
Well, 1-5, not really reward for efforts, and we're nearly halfway through the quarter, so you'd have to say at this stage of the afternoon that the Bulldogs defence has done a pretty good job. Brad Wirra to Brad Johnson. Johnson at right half back. Everett in front, Martin over the top. Did he complete the mark? The umpire says no. Thompson takes the rebound, gets it to Harvey. Dimatina, a stumble, still takes the mark. He knew Heatley was bearing down on him, stood his ground.
St Kilda forward line just not working at the moment. They haven't had plenty of opportunities through the middle of the ground, but they can't mark a ball down within goal scoring distance.
Wind.
Isn't it great to see Scotty Wind actually dictating his own starting point, not getting influenced by the Everett factor, who can push forward, but at this stage he's controlling his own starting point.
Held whistle there.
Yeah, held prior to the mark of the ball coming down, Pete, so free kick will be paid.
Hudson. Martin makes the lead. Not a great kick. Kicks it around Mitchell. It may be their first score. No, it's not. Out of bounds on the full, so free kick in the left back pocket to St Kilda. Pete McKenna.
Pete, I think with Jason Heatley being pretty well held by Crediel, they might need to get Gavin Mitchell deep into this forward pocket area. They'll need a man at ground level. They've been pushing Nathan Burke down here for the last 5 minutes, but I think they need a little guy like Mitchell down there.
Well, he's deep in the pocket at the moment, but it's at the other end of the ground. He's in the back pocket, and he's going to have to kick it in again. Going to have to kick over the man on the mark. Does so on that occasion. Young, was he off? Hudson had him. No, he wasn't. Now he is. Well, it's a bad kick straight to Minton Connell. Now the other full forward, Cook, unmistakable in that blonde hair, has made the lead, and he marks.
Well, that's one of the worst turnovers we've seen today, and well, if the Bulldogs can make the most of this and put a goal on the board, you wouldn't be surprised if Young was dragged in the ground, just because that was just a horrible mistake.
Yeah, he just didn't assess his options on the way through, but there's the angle as we look at it. Cook, who's been brought back into this game through an effort of kicking 8 goals last week in the seconds alongside Simon Minton-Connell, who also kicked 8. But this is a critical shot for goal for the Western Bulldogs team, but also more importantly for James Cook's confidence.
Kicked 6 in the preliminary final last year and 7 in the last home and away game. Runs around against the breeze, which is carting it around. Did it come around enough? I think it's a goal. He's got it. Well, he read that well, and so a costly mistake.
Fairly laconic approach towards goal, but one question what James Cook was doing on that occasion, but he certainly knew exactly what he was doing. But terrific build-up here. Here's the turnover, as Gerard spoke about. Young just got back from the mark, didn't really assess his options, didn't balance himself, didn't see Cook out the corner of his eye coming across the line of the body. But Minton-Connell received the turnover, looked up and seen Cook leading into space. Great disposal. Cook went back and kicked the goal. Good play.
Very handy goal against the breeze. Just a one effective scoring shot for the Western Bulldogs, and they trailed by 5 points. St Kilda having most of the footy on their forward line, but little reward. Burke down in the tackle, picked up by West. Straight back to Mitchell. Kicked into the man in front of him, who was Harvey. Couldn't do much with it. West again. Good tackle by Burke. Ball jarred free. Thompson gets it back to Healy. Now Harvey, outside 50. Wind in front of Everett. Takes the mark. Scotty Wine, he'll go towards the defensive side, you would reckon, from there.
And he's tracked Peter Everett deep into the goal square, and it was just a poor kick, that one, that didn't favour Everett.
He's not going to the defensive side, but finds on his own Dent. Dent up to Croft, needs a good bounce, gets it at centre wing. Terrible kick, bounces just inside the line. It was intended for Martin, couldn't find him out of bounds centre wing close to the interchange gates.
Croft on that occasion was probably only where he had time to balance and straighten up on his dominant side, that being his right foot, but he decided to kick with his left foot, and his disposal wasn't accurate.
So 8.5 minutes left. St Kilda inside 58, the Bulldogs 4, and still just 1 goal to the Saints at this stage of the quarter, kicking with what we've estimated about a 3 or 4 goal breeze. Julia low with the mark, onto Mitchell. Croft gives chase and then gives up. Oh, mark, free kick, whatever.
They've got a problem with Stuart Lowe taking so much of the ball up on the wing as he did then, because when the ball comes to the next kick, they haven't got a Stuart Lowe type of player ready to mark the ball there. Trying to get it to Sierakowski, but he hasn't got the same marking strength as Stuart Lowe.
Kick by Rowan Smith. Speaking of Stewie Lowe, there he is, dragging one down.
He's been pushed up into the ruck.
Onto Young.
Everett's at full forward, Sierakowski's at centre half forward along with Healy.
Sierakowski making a lead. Young just wide of the centre circle. Everett and Wine both got a fingernail to it. Couldn't do too much more with it. Wirra onto Dent. Needs to be quick. Tries to measure the hand pass. They share it around. Dent will come back to Garlick. Jones chips in. Beautiful intercept. Deserves a goal. And he got it. What a ripper. Great play.
It's just sensational play by Aussie Jones. He read the intercept exceptionally well. He just got a depth touch to it to keep the ball alive. He ran onto the open ball, as we see by the replay here. Brad Wirra releases Dent, who kicks and looks wide as he gets the handball back here. Looks wide, tries to find a Western Bulldogs teammate, but see the intercept here by Aussie Jones. Great anticipation, balanced himself, had a quick look at the goals. There's no doubt about that. He meant it. Terrific finish.
Well, you won't see a better goal than that. You may not see a better piece of play than that today. 2-5 to 1 goal. 11 points is the margin. A badly needed one for St Kilda with this breeze. As I said, though, it's more than a breeze. Mitchell again looks for Zilla. Godzilla inside the centre square. It's a bomb into the goal square. May bounce through. Oh, it has. 2 quick ones to the Sailors. Go long, my boy. Go long.
And he did. But there was an open goal square, wasn't there? Because Everett had let out. And I think that's the problem with Heatley. He was staying back on a number of occasions and trying to wrestle with Credior. He's been now pushed out to the half-forward line. And I reckon it was the Aussie Jones goal that sparked this. The Saints all of a sudden have been shaken out of their lethargy. And 2 quick goals in 2 minutes. All of a sudden they're back in a position they can mount an attack at quarter time.
7 minutes to go in the quarter. So the pendulum back on St Kilda's side of the clock. Mitchell to Harvey. This is looking better from a St Kilda point of view. Little nudge there by Everett.
He's got it.
Comes down with a footy, nearly the mark. Jones. Zilla. Wind over the top. Jones shuffles it out to the advantage of Thompson. Still Thompson. West. Did well. Not too many friends for him there. The boundary line was won. He does find it just ahead of Romero. Throw in outer side.
And it's amazing what a little bit of individual brilliance can do. That goal of Aussie Jones really has sparked the St Kilda side. They've slipped it into top gear. And the brilliance of the goal was that he knew that the wind was blowing straight down the ground. He had no angle to look at. He just pushed it out in front of the goal and the wind blew it through. It was an uncanny goal.
Weira defending desperately. Mitchell's got him. Hasn't got the football. The umpire has found the free kick for holding the ball. Peter McKenna.
Yes, Pete, I said how they needed a small man down the forward line. The Saints, Aussie Jones has been pushing down. Luke Berridge has gone down that forward pocket area too, so that's a good move by Stan Alves.
Sierakowski in front. Good Mark Thompson's kick. Good tackle by Burke. Rides Romero into the turf. It will be a ball up.
And as Peter McKenna spoke about a couple of smalls, 2 players that have been very important in this initial stage of the game has been Gavin Mitchell, who's had 5 kicks and 5 handballs, 10 possessions in the midfield. Also as Andrew Thompson, who's had 3 and 6. 2 very in and under type players who get momentum forward for the Saints.
I just wonder whether St Kilda need the 3 tallish players, if you consider Heatley tall on the forward line at the moment. The ball isn't really going to be marked because of the windy conditions.
Yeah, it's a valid point, Jared.
Well, a little kick by Wind. And another one off the ground. He's been watching the World Cup, Jones and Garlick. They've both got speed. Jones. Stewie Lowe. Over the head of Croft. Credior positions himself in front of his opponent. Good Shepherd enables Southern to get the clearing kick away to Croft. Onto Dimatina. Need to get something from him. Dimatina's kick well inside 50. Minton Connell. Cook. Snapped by Cook, off target, out of bounds in the left forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs.
Sorry, Pete, possibly the wrong option there by James Cook. He probably should have released the ball by hand to his overlapping player in Michael Martin. May have ran into an open goal. He decided to kick it himself.
The only goal scorer so far for the Bulldogs. Darcy with Lowe. Won by the latter. Down to Burke. Well, they're just running it at will. This is Max Hudgton. Kick up towards centre field.
Everett one out in the square with Wine.
Hit the long way from goal, but he's a great kick. Not so that time. Sierakowski. Gee, no, he took the mark. Weira onto Dent.
Peter Everett absolutely filthy with that kick from Heatley. It had to go long to Everett.
Dimatina again. Another run. 3 bounces. 4. Under kick against the breeze. Minton Connell in front. And I guess on a day like today, you have to be in front.
And that's his great strength, Minton Connell. A good move by the player having up there this early, kicking into the wind, because as you say, in front is the only position to be, and he's such a great user of his body that he just took that front position and he was never going to miss that mark.
So Simon Minton Connell for the Bulldogs second. He won the goal kicking at Sydney 3 times. And won the Western Bulldogs goal kicking last year. Unsuccessful stint at Hawthorn. That looks pretty good from that angle. He's got their second.
Well, without being too critical, that, I think, resulted from a pretty ordinary kick from Heatley into their forward line. He kicked it poorly, and it still tumbled 50 metres. If he had him unloaded, he may well have even kicked it deep into the goal square. And, well, Peter Everett justifiably, I think, upset with that disposal. And when you have a poor kick into the forward line, it gets quickly taken out around the wings, as Dimitino did, and sets up a goal at the other end.
Kick came from Dimitino, who's had 5 kicks in one hand pass so far, so he's been busy around midfield. Wind, who's also had 5 kicks, wins it, but taken by Harvey. Harvey out wide, Garlick and Jones. Garlick down in the tackle, gets it to West, taken high, loses it. Campbell on to Mitchell, back to Thompson. He'll go long to the square. Will this one bounce through as well? Croft gets a hand to it and rushes it through for one behind.
Once again, the brilliance of Rob Harvey in the middle of the ground. He's a genius in there. That's his great strength, launching St Kilda attacks.
Mark taken by Rowan Smith. Oh, Burke late on Ramiro. Umpire lets it go. Wakeland can't stop the mark from Grant. West very busy in the first quarter. A little gift to Martin. Campbell gives chase. One-on-one contest here. This time Minton Connell caught behind. Wakeland in front. Low pressures. Minton Connell. That was nearly a throw. But not really.
It was a perfect tackle, Pete, because he did pin one arm.
Yeah, and he actually attempted to kick it.
Yeah.
And Minton Connell was a bit unlucky not to have succeeded.
Harvey to Zula. They can certainly set something up here, St Kilda. Zula from left centre wing. Everett on the lead. Croft wearing in closely. Everett tries to keep it in play. No Crummer there. In fact, he couldn't keep it in play anyway. Out of bounds. The difference 2 goals inside the last 2.5 minutes of the quarter. So a throw in the Saints' left forward pocket. The wind from the northeast blowing diagonally across the ground right into the pocket where we have the football now.
West and Zilla are now accompanying each other. And Scotty West is getting plenty of possessions.
Throw in a little bit short. Favours St Kilda. Kick comes from Johnson. Straight into the arms of the Brownlow medalist.
Well, he should go back and kick this one. The wind is behind him. Distance isn't a problem. It's just a matter of accuracy. The Saints need this one just before quarter time.
And a new dad too, Robert Harvey. Heatley. Oh, didn't have to go at it. It's a goal.
Yeah, good goal by Robert Harvey, but all the same, poor defence here by the Western Bulldogs team. Scott Wind actually got underneath the fly to the ball. It is so critical in that part of the ground that you must concede the point, as we see here by the replay. Terrific kick with the wind, used the breeze, gave the ball enough height to give it some carry. But here, right on the goal line, both players, Ruckman, Crediuk, come from the opposite side to what you should have been coming to meet the ball. Could have easily punched the ball through and conceded an easy point.
Just had enough carry to get the goal. The Saints 4th. So 10 effective scoring shots, and they'd lead 30-12. Late in the first quarter, can they get another one? Ball up to Mitchell at half forward, knocked away by Wirra. Campbell is there inside the square. A little gift to Harvey. Can he get another one? It's a bomb. Croft knocks to the front, hit the post actually. And David Howlett comes in to assist the goal umpire.
But it was strike 1 for Robert Harvey. Nearly strike 2 there with that kick, but I think meant that the side whose midfield supplies the most goals today, Harvey versus Ramiro, is just one matchup, will win the match.
Yeah, valid point. At this stage of the game, he's got the better of Jose Ramiro. Harvey's had 10 kicks and 1 handball. Sensational start by the champion.
And this has been a big move by the Saints coach, getting low into the midfield. That's been one of the reasons they've kicked on in this quarter.
They want to concede another one, the Bulldogs. Garlick, who's been minding Jones, onto Johnson. Thompson comes at him. Kick around the boundary line. The unmistakable Cook. It's like an albino, doesn't he? Grant, pressured. Campbell, good tackle. Ball just about all tied up. They're looking for holding the ball. Need to get it out quickly. It's still play on.
No, the umpire has called for a bounce, Pete.
It's wrestle on.
It was wrestle on, wasn't it?
Peter McKenna, what do you think about the colouring of James Cook's there? Do you think that would assist him in players picking him up?
Well, I'd like to make a comeback and go through it myself. As a fellow full forward, Jared.
He stands out like a beacon. I think it's going to help him with players and his own teammates being able to see him on the lead.
I'll tell you one thing, Jared, if you've got a hair like that, you've got to start getting a kick, I can tell you.
Exactly.
True enough. This guy's getting a couple of kicks, more than a couple. Harvey, Wine, has to backpedal. Knock on to Everett. Everett's kick is short. Dent may get there first. He does. Doesn't like any courage. Heatley came at him. The ball shoveled at the Croft. Croft's kick up towards midfield. Martin on the second attempt. Croft brushes Campbell. 2 bounces. Still inside the square. Looks for one of the full forwards. Grant's taken the mark. Not the full forward per se, but one of the best marks in the competition.
And he's got about 10 seconds or so to be able to kick this goal. And if he does manage to convert, it's just a very unfortunate for St Kilda fans, because there goes the siren. He'll be kicking it after the siren. And this, I would think, would give the Bulldogs the quarter if he could manage to convert here.
Yeah, fair call. Stan Elves comes out. He'll be watching the kick. Distance not a problem. The wind is the problem. We'll get a good idea from this angle. Grant pretty well directly in front. Wind brings it around. It's a goal. So good effort by the Bullies against the breeze. Ryan Royal and Terry Wallace come onto the ground to address the side. 4-7 to 3 goals, 31 to 18. Bulldogs quarter, Jared, as you said.
Well, I think the Bulldogs would be very pleased to get 3 goals into that wind, and only trailing by 13 points. I think that they have had a win in this term, and now it's up to St Kilda to work hard. It was a poor kick by Peter Everett that time. He should have set up Heatley, and that has cost the Saints 2 goals. 1 to the Bulldogs and 1 to themselves.
For the start of the second term, David Howlett puts the ball down. Let's see if the Bulldogs can use the breeze. They defended pretty well in the opening term. They just trailed by 13 points, won by Wind after Everett had the first shot at it. Grant tries to brush an opponent, eventually gets a kick in. Punch away by Wakeland. Now the Saints turn to mop up. Both Wakeland's figuring in that. Everett over the top, good mark. That will certainly please the coach after he copped an earful at quarter time. Lopes around half-back. Burke was the one for him. It was intended. There's a free kick, a holding decision.
And already, Pete, they've certainly changed their forward structure of Western Bulldogs and their matchups.
Dent to Darcy.
Hutchison's gone to Grant. Darryl Wakeland's gone to Minton Connell. And Shane Wakeland's gone to Cook.
The unmistakable James Cook. Minton Connell on the lead. Everett blocks the hole well. The Spiders kick the centre wing. Zilla and Dimatina.
And Dipper, you've got the interchanges for us.
Yes, Pete, for St Kilda, we've got Healy, Lappin, Beveridge and Elliott. And for the Western Bulldogs, Colin, Montgomery, Curley and Brown.
Thank you, Dipper.
And Mickey, just looking at that matchup, Crediuk versus Heatley. If Heatley doesn't get his hands on the ball, Crediuk's going to be a problem running off in defence.
Yeah, he certainly can set up on the way out. He is a fit athlete, as Steve Crediuk, no doubt. He's played in the midfield and played some very good accountable roles this year. But it will be a hard task for Jason Heatley across the full forward line for the Saints.
Right, let's go to Peter McKenna in the grandstand.
Well, it'll be interesting, Pete. I'll have a good look at Simon Minton Connell and James Cook. Traditionally, over the years, 2 full forwards very rarely works.
Martin to Harvey, that's kick number 12. Heatley and Crediuk, about whom we were speaking. Crediuk for the free kick, runner-up in the best and fairest for the Bulldogs back in '94. Wirra from Southern, onto Dentner. There's a free kick here.
High contact signalled after the ball left, so the free kick will probably be paid at the spot where the ball landed, which is there.
Dent, onto Johnson. To Ramiro. That wasn't as delivered as well as it could have been. Winmar taken down in the tackle. Ball chart free. Chance for Grant. Tries to scoop it out. Everett's in the road. Over the top with a hand pass. Harvey. In Brownlow medal winning form today. Peckett. They got the first goal for St Kilda. Dent and Brown Brown on the ground. He started on the bench. Croft, you'll have to be quick. Blocked by Sierakowski. Goes to Southern. Southern from halfback, straight down the ground. Hudson underneath it, goes to Darcy. Gives it back to Hudson. On the left, real grubber. Young off the ground. Past Cook, could have been dangerous. And out of bounds. So throw it in the forward pocket.
Yeah, the message from Terry Wallace to his players at quarter time was not to waste the ball into the wind. You know, there's a strong breeze. The players have to control the ball off the
Free kick against Cook.
That was for actually pushing the ball away after it had gone over the boundary line, Mick. So the free kick taken by Wakeland in that last line of defence. It's
also interesting to see Terry Wallace has reacted with their height factor in their front half. They've brought on a small in young Nathan Brown to replace Luke Darcy.
Shane Wakeland with the kick. Thompson couldn't get clear. West confronted. Harvey. Out of bounds. In front of Denton. Tony Brown.
There's Luke Darcy, and I think that's a pretty good move, Mick. It looked like St Kilda were just a shade too tall in the opening term with the wind, and Terry Wallace has gone in with the smaller players.
Liver there, the man in the outer for the Western Bulldogs. Thompson hand pass ineffective, blocked by Romero, all tied up again.
It's interesting to see the positioning of Peter Everett also. He's trying to push back and block the hole for Grant and also Mitten Connell and Cook to lead into. And Scotty Wynn's actually going with him to play a one-on-one role and trying to get him out of that area.
Lowe wins it, tried to get it to Mitchell. Thompson was there. Winmar confronted by Wine. Socket off the ground, out to Croft. Croft to half forward. Mitten Connell was being held there by the jumper from Wakeland. The umpire let it go, or didn't see it. Probably the latter. Wakeland. It's Shane Wakeland's kick. Mitchell tracks it close to the boundary line. And that's out of bounds. Off the hands of Dimatina.
Pete, the Bulldogs play to try and keep the ball on that side of the ground. That's the attacking side for the Western Bulldogs, and they're just trying to get that ball kept in that area so they can kick the ball about 50, 60 metres.
Yes, thank you, Dipper. Into the bench in the dugout. West tackled by Mitchell. West kick ineffective. Gets it again from Romero. Minton Connell on the lead. Boundary line might be too close. It is, and so too was Daryl Wakeland. Out of bounds for a throw-in right on 50, left half forward flank.
And that setup's very interesting for the Western Bulldogs. Maybe it might be time to bring Steve Collinyuk on the ground, who's a very good crumbing forward, and trying to use the leading mobility of also Mitten Connell, complement the hard work of Grant, and maybe get Cook off the ground.
Grant to Mitten Connell. Harvey.
Well, Rowan Smith can kick a goal from here, but he's got to go back.
Harvey did in the first quarter, didn't he?
He's wheeled inside.
Well, he's kicked the distance okay, but only one behind.
Yeah, you read the play well there, Jared. All he had to do was get back from the mark and wheel inside as he did and give himself some sort of momentum when he did kick for goal. But unfortunately for the Western Bulldogs supporters, his accuracy wasn't there. Well,
Nathan Berg is a player that needs to get some of the footy. Just 3 possessions. His direct opponent, Brad Johnson's up in double figures at the moment.
Not a bad kick against the breeze by Young. Dent couldn't read it. Brown started on the bench today, taken down by Danny Sutton in the tackle. Sierakowski had his hands on it. Now Garlick had the job on Aussie Jones. Everett will punch from behind. Clears Wine. Wine reads it better. Well played by the Brownlow medalist. On to Romero. Romero wide of the circle. Out to Rowan Smith. Trying to set something up just outside 50. Lets it go long. It's a bomb. What a kick.
Great goal. Yeah, great call, Peter Landy. That was a terrific call. He read it well with Rowan Smith. They transferred the play through the midfield. It was all brought about by the contest across the centre forward position by Scotty Wynn. He recovered well. He got the line, read the line better of the ball, gave the ball to Jose Romero, who's seen in turn Rowan Smith. He had one teammate running forward, but he decided it was good cribbing there by Nathan Burke. Put a little bit of doubt into Rowan Smith's mind as to actually what to do. He decided to take it upon himself, go back and kick a terrific goal.
Kicked it about 3 or 4 metres outside the line. It's cleared the goal line by about 7 or 8 metres. A kick more than 60 metres. Terrific kick by Rowan Smith. Wind down at the bounce. Picked up by Burke. Smother West. Burke again. And the ball up.
The Bulldogs ended up getting that goal from Rowan Smith because of a 1-on-3 battle with Scotty Wine and 3 St Kilda players in the middle of the ground. It was a superb solo performance from the skipper and has ignited this quarter for the Bulldogs.
Harvey on the run again. A little give to Burke. Must have been legal. Heatley in the middle of the pack. Crediuk's there. Winmar reads the rebound okay. Just didn't kick it as well as he could have and arguably should have.
Well, he needed that one, Mick. Whenever your direct opponent gets a goal, and that was Rowan Smith for Nicky Winmar, it's always nice to be able to sneak one back very quickly.
But that opportunity was all presented by the work of also Robert Harvey. But I just question the positioning of Jose Romero. He's naturally alongside Robert Harvey at the stop play situations, that being when the central umpire's about to bounce the ball. He's starting defensively, but he's given him too much latitude on the run through.
Everett the fly from behind. Brown. Oh. Where's he kicked that? No one's there. Heatley had to actually play it like a defender. Too high. Too high. Free kick.
Well, a bit lucky there because I thought Brown kicked it over the heads of a couple of his teammates. And, quite clearly, they were a little bit miffed and they could have had a direct shot, but the Saints have got away with it here, John.
Yeah, well, there's the free kick, as you've called, was paid for a high tackle and clearly over the shoulder. There really isn't much doubt about it, so Beveridge will take the kick.
Spent most of the first quarter on the bench, not all, as he did last week at the MCG. Luke Beveridge.
Left to right goalpost, Peter.
Yes, with the strong northerly. See what he can do. He's read it okay. It's a goal. Good kick.
Yes, and it is so important for the ground-level crumbling players for the St Kilda team, especially when they are kicking into the wind, to work exceptionally hard to get front and square to the contest, because there will be a lot of jostling, because the ball will hold up in the air, as we see by this passage of play with Nathan Burke releasing the ball to Tony Brown, who kicks to a contest with Crediuk and Heatley, and also it's so important for the ground-level players to get front and square to the contest. When you do get numbers and you do attack your body through the line of the ball, invariably you do get a free kick.
Beveridge fell over, got the free kick. Can't argue with that, but a little bit of bad luck, I guess. Hudson. Harvey. Now it's over to West. Grant. Doesn't usually mess around with those marks. And gets on with it very quickly.
And just pops it through.
If you don't mind.
Too easy.
As you like. There was no one there. Goal.
Yeah, good goal to Chris Grant. What skill and what confidence in your skill. He just fooled everybody up here in the box and also out on the ground, because no one's suspecting he was going to go quickly onto his left boot and goal. But Scotty West got the ball after a succession of handballs in the middle. Most notably on that occasion, Mick, it was a deft backward tap from Scotty Wine to Romero. So I take your point about Romero starting away from Harvey, but I think he must have been told by his coach to back yourself home.
Yeah, it's interesting to see now he's actually going to the side. They're using a zone system on this setup.
Difference back to 7 points after Grant's goal. Wine couldn't get clear. Brown on the ground now. Johnson. It's Johnson. Oh, good markment at Connell. Out-bustled Darryl Wakeland. No, can he run around? I thought he'd blown time on then.
No, the reason he... And the reason he hadn't blown time on was, there's obviously a big discussion about whether, in fact, it was a goal or not. It'll be interesting to see if Brett Allen goes in to consult. No, he's convinced the goal umpire was certain it was a behind.
Maybe James Cook was saying he blew time on. Peter McKenna, did you see that one?
Well, I certainly can't tell, but I do know one thing, neither could the goal umpire. No, honestly, if that is not the perfect time, you would say you need 2 goal umpires, one on each post. He could not cover the ground. Just a mile away.
Yeah, just in... Here we see it again, and yeah, it's difficult to tell, but that's a very good camera shot. But in relation to there being no time on, Pete, the umpire won't blow time on if he's on his correct line of kick.
Brown has to go at the goals. That's a behind as well. I can tell you that because it hit the post.
Matthew Young once again involved in a turnover situation under pressure. He handballed the ball back. And here's Steve Collingwood about to come on for his first run for the Western Bullies.
And no surprise there. Peckett kicked the first goal for St Kilda today to kick in. The difference is back to 5 points. Goes out wide. Young in front of Mitton Connell in the pocket. Tony Brown will give it to Wakeland. Shane Wakeland. Kick to centre wing. Sierakowski and Heatley were there. Sierakowski recovers the better.
Terrible kick.
Paddled forward out to Croft. Tries to brush an opponent. Brushes two. Well played, Matthew Croft. No, he lost the strides. Very cheeky indeed. Darcy. West. West had left half back. Garlick. Thought about going off. Harvey quickly onto the mark. Garlick from left centre wing. Brown. No, too far for him. Wakeland's there. Shane Wakeland to Burke. It's close. Campbell takes the kick, left centre wing. Kicks straight into the man on the mark. It's okay. It's going to rebound to Peckett. Gets around Cook. Brown shepherded off. Down to half forward. Oh, it's a catch. That's just what it looked like. Great mark by Stewie Lowe. Got those big mitts underneath it.
He won't kick the distance from here. And he should have been on the end of a Sierakowski kick just 2 minutes ago. It was a very ordinary option from Sierakowski to go over his head, but Stewie's looking for the shorter option.
Winmar. Well, he's no near a goal. 48 metres out. It's going to be close. A little bit of interference right on the line. Now it's touched off hands, and it will be a rush behind.
And on that occasion, Mick, Scotty Wine got right on the goal line.
Terrific mark here by Stuart Lowe, as you see by the replay. Body use against Croft, his direct opponent. Just got him underneath the fly to the footy, but that's a terrific mark.
5-9 to 5-3. The difference at even goal. Pretty well at the halfway mark of the second quarter. Low again. Stephen Zuber. Oh, that's a great mark by Brad Johnson. Certainly worth a second look, that one.
Yeah, he's having a great game at the moment, Brad Johnson.
West not doing too bad either. Out to Dent. On the sidelines for a few weeks from suspension, but getting back to some good form. Chris Grant never out of that category.
Go back and have a shot, Chris.
Got the breeze at his back. He's got in short. Minton Connell, first grab, couldn't get it on the second. Hudson tries to get it clear. Harvey mops up for the Satyrs. Out to Winmar, vintage Winmar today. Beveridge. Now he's got a paddock to move in. Wirra. Thought about coming at him. Johnson. Wirra. And good spoil there by Sierakowski. Clears the line. Gets it away from Rowan Smith.
And a change has been made in the St Kilda defence. Max Hudson's gone from Grant. He's gone on to Minton Connell. Looks like James Cook is going to come off the ground. We see here that St Kilda has won 7 out of their 8 games this year at Waverley. And at the moment, we're not sure whether they're going to add to that. But, Mick, I think the Bulldogs got too many players in their forward line. They need the likes of Hudson to push up the ground and hit the ball on the way back. But at the moment, they're crowding out Chris Grant, and maybe taking James Cook from the ground is one of those reasons of just opening up. On the ground comes Montgomery. He's another runner.
It's Cook off the ground. And Montgomery on. Burke. Nathan Burke's kick to half forward. Punch to the front by Everett. Brown onto the left. Goes at goal. There's no one home. Just needs some accuracy. And bounces. It stopped. And bounced back. Took a right-hand turn and just went over the line from behind.
A typical Shane Warne wrong on that one, Peter.
Oh, was it what?
Unbelievable.
Oh, look at this.
They usually run for you too, a drop punt like that. They usually go over the top and run into the open goal. But on that occasion, she just landed on the point of the ball and she went from left to right.
Well, that is extremely bad luck. Good luck if you're a Western Bulldog supporter. Southern might get a chance here. Winmar. Aussie Jones had a pretty good first quarter, been quiet so far in the second. Nathan Burke, Campbell says go, gets it down to Harvey. Had 11 kicks in the first quarter, the Brownlow medalist. On to Everett, brilliant footy. Actually nearly cleaned up his mate.
Yeah, that's terrific poise by the champion, Robert Harvey. He's had 20 possessions already at this stage of the game, 16 and 4, and he is an exceptional athlete, continues to run long and hard. On this occasion, he just had the poise to balance and set up, whereas Jose Ramiro's direct opponent only had 5 and 3.
Kick by Everett. That's not bad from there. The crowd likes it, and the goal umpire says, yes, it's a goal. Oh, top goal, that.
Well, it's being all about having a fair share of footy smarts, that one, Nick. We saw one kick from David Tarakoski, which was going nowhere, and this one from Harvey, he got blazed away at goal, but just checks himself. And whilst people think that Rob Harvey, I think, doesn't kick enough goals, and he's only kicked 7 for the season, they don't count how many of these ones he gives away, and there are hundreds of them.
Yeah, for sure. He's a team man.
6 individual goal kickers for St Kilda. There's just one multiple goal kicker on the ground, and that's Chris Grant, who topped the Brownlow voting last year, but of course couldn't win it.
High tackle paid in the ruck contest, Pete, to Stewie Lowe.
He'll give it to Harvey. Now he doesn't get 3 votes today on this form. You'd wonder why. Zilla. Everett should mark this.
And all of a sudden, the Everett factor is starting to pay some dividends and have an influence on this game. And it wasn't up the end where the wind is blowing us now into the wind. He's just been able to get himself free a couple of times. They're not big pack marks. They're just good marks on the end of good kicks.
Tricky kick. Again, as Mick pointed out earlier, the left goalpost is the target. It came around. In fact, if he'd been about another 5 metres further out, it would have been a goal.
He went for the left point post.
Yeah. So they look a far better, more mobile outfit when Lowy actually goes into the ruck, and Everett does push forward. That's been the difference between the two sides at this halfway mark of the second quarter for sure.
Dense, towering kick. Marked, oh, well, I nearly said marked. Should have been marked by Winmar. Brown underneath it. They come from all directions, knocked away by Southern. This is Thompson, outside 50. Everett the target, if he can get there, nearly. Brown the crummer, just couldn't quite gather it in. West got bowled over in the tackle. Again, Brown, a snap. Which way is this one going to bounce? Straight ahead, that's what he wanted the last one to do. Dent, and come back across the ground. He's got Wirra, and Wirra takes the mark in the left back pocket.
Well, once again, Jose Ramiro just staying off Rob Harvey. He's always giving him 10 metres leeway, and Harvey's just exploiting it too much.
Martinez, Surakoski read that best, came in from the side.
Harvey will get on the end of this one again. Mick, would you put another player onto Harvey at the moment?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting situation as we see the ball going forward for St Kilda, Jared. I just question whether maybe it might be an opportunity to put someone like Rowan Smith or Brad Johnson to go to him and just try to run off him, put some sort of an effort or defensive attitude into Robert Harvey's mind.
Maybe Ramiro is injured because he is, well, he looks like he's hobbling from the ground now.
Well, that's disappointing.
Everett, West, Burke, good tackle by West. Kick comes out in the direction of Garlick and Thompson. Thompson to Brown. A little bit slow with the kick. It's going to bounce out of bounds in the forward pocket.
He hasn't had his same drive today, Jose Ramiro. It's not surprising that he's been injured, and whether or not he carried that injury into the game, we'll never know. But we'll go down to Dipper shortly and get an update when he manages to find out some information.
Looks like he's gone straight up to the medical room too, Jared.
Yeah,
straight up the race.
Well, limped up the race, didn't he? Wind from behind. Everett, West has got him. Flipped out to Thompson. Brushes the Brownlow medalist. Thompson into goal. Should kick it from there and does. So another goal kicker to St Kilda. 7 goals, 7 different players have kicked them. 7-11 to 5-3.
Yeah, well, Andrew Thompson is an exceptional player. He's a very exciting forward-type crumbing player, as we see here, as opposed to actually Scott West, who's had a fair amount of the ball. West at this stage of the game's had 15 possession, but equally matched by Andrew Thompson's had 6 and 8. But more importantly, he's pushed forward and kicked a critical goal for the Saints, kicking into this breeze. Been a very good player.
Well, that goal is worth gold to St Kilda. The difference out to 20 points now. The Saints against the breeze. Can they get some more? This man has been brilliant today. Harvey, he's combined superbly with the likes of this character as well. Winmar to Burke. See, they've got some strong players, some good players, some brilliant players. Here's another one if he can take the mark low, in from the side. Couldn't complete it. Snap it, goal is there. Beveridge.
Yep, terrific play there by Luke Beveridge again. His direct opponent, I think, on that occasion was committed because the ball went from left to right. As we see here by the replay, Nathan Burke kicked the ball to the advantage, what looked to be to Stewie Lowe, but it was the direct opponent, Dent, went to ground level of Luke Beveridge. He had to commit himself at the contest, there's no doubt about that, but it was Luke Beveridge who got front and square to the contest. That's a percentage spot where to be, and Luke Beveridge read it well and finished off with a terrific goal. His second for the game.
Bulldogs have got to do something about the centre bounces. They're just absolutely getting slaughtered in there in the takeaways. And that's 3 goals in 5 minutes for the Saints against the wind.
26 points the margin, the biggest of the match so far. Winmar runs onto it, and he will be free kicked because he didn't have the football.
And this is a critical stage of the game for the Western Bullies because it's the Saints who've actually kicked their last 3 consecutive goals in this game. They really have to stabilise this situation and don't let the Saints get a run on.
In fact, that's the wrong terminology. If you free kick, it goes the other way, doesn't it? But Winmar takes the kick. Burke. Harvey. Everett. Nearly stretched every sinew. Put one big claw up, it rolled down the arm, and he took the mark.
He certainly is a cult hero, isn't he? The big blonde locks, but more importantly, this man can play football.
That's the important thing, isn't it?
It certainly is, Pete.
Well, Hudson's coming off the ground. He's been replaced by Luke Darcy, who may well finish on Peter Everett as a direct opponent. Once again, another takeaway by the Saints. It's 4-3 in this quarter and 9-4 overall.
Now, Beveridge has kicked 2, the first St Kilda player to do that today. Everett trying to match it, but I believe he's missed. That's one behind, so Everett's stats stand at 1 goal 2.
And sometimes a kick like that, an errant kick like that from a big bloke can happen because they're working so hard up and down the ground, and when they get a chance to have a set shot, they can sort of miscue the kick, as Peter Everett did on that occasion.
It would have been real handy, just close to half-time, 3 minutes remaining. Grant has taken the mark and left half-back. Hutchton in front of Brown, nearly. Hutchton's got it, second. He's played the mark.
That was a bit of a blind kick from Chris Grant. He's kicked that to no advantage to his own team.
Guess who's got it? Robert Harvey. Fatherhood agrees with him. Grant, Burke, Quirdiuk. West paddles it out. Grant again. No one to give it to. Ziller. Croft will take the mark. Inside his own defensive 50, Matthew Croft. Western Bulldogs under siege at the moment. Now the ball is coming back, John Russell. What's happened?
Yeah, they've called it out of bounds, Pete, so the ball will go back and be thrown in.
And now Paul Dimartina's got the job on Robert Harvey, trying to curb his influence on this game because he has 24 possessions against his name and it's not even half-time.
Darcy. West. Ships it up to Grant. Grant around the boundary line, looks for Montgomery, takes a nice low mark in front of Shane Wakeland. In line for Mark of the Year honours. A screamer. I think he's taken a couple of screamers this year. Lead by Minton Connell. And from Darryl Wakeland. Grant giving him the hurry on. Well, Brown thought about the screamer from behind, but Sierakowski was there, stood his ground well. Young to Winmar. And gee, if Harvey's brilliant, Winmar's not too far behind him at the moment. Young made a mistake in the first quarter that cost a goal, but he's been solid apart from that. Tony Brown, left half back. Croft being brought back on the mark. Brown wants to get it moving quickly. 1.5 minutes remaining in the half. Off the hands of the pack. Jones tries to gather just inside the line. Out of bounds off hands right in the middle of the interchange gates.
Pete, we saw Jose go off the ground. He went straight into the rooms. He's had his foot stood on, and they've got the shores me he'll be back on in the second half.
Let's hope he hasn't broken a bone in his foot.
Another key positional change for the Western Bulldogs team. Terry Wallace has pushed Rowan Smith to the true full forward position.
Nicky Winmar again up and under. Quirdiuk in front. Wine went without it. Quirdiuk takes it on the second attempt, gets it back to his teammate Brad Wirra. Wirra's kick, a wobbly one, right into the arms of Peckett, marking in front of Montgomery. They play on again. Winmar. Harvey doesn't get you, Winmar will.
Yeah, poor kick there by Nicky Winmar. He's a better player than that. He just didn't pick the right option on the way through.
Todd Curley to Grant. Won't miss that. Now you can kick a goal from there. We've seen a couple kick from there. Harvey in the first quarter.
They haven't really got a marking option in the goal square overhead. They've got Minton Connell, who takes chest marks, but this has got to go over the goal line. And are they desperate for one?
Yes, they certainly are. Minton Connell on the lead. Leading club goal kicker last year. He's gone in short. Minton Connell again.
We'll certainly get the trip, Pete, from that particular part of the ground. Simon Minton Connell. It's just a question of accuracy now for the Western Bullies.
One of the Wakelands on the mark. I think it's Shane. Yes, it is. A much-travelled footballer. More recently at Hawthorn, but on the goal kicking 3 times at Sydney, so 55 metres out. They really need this. It's dropping short. Now, was it touched?
Yes.
Was touched, and not one Bulldog player in the goal square to try and shepherd that ball through. So just down on their, I guess, attention to details at the moment, Nick. The Bulldogs and the Saints really, after the first 5 minutes, controlled that football. And they've been brilliantly led by both Stuart Lowe and Rob Harvey in this game to half-time.
Yeah, they've certainly controlled the last 15 minutes of that particular quarter. And as you said, Gerard, it's the work rate of the St Kilda team into that win. Winmar, Burke, Harvey and Co. And as you said, Stuart Lowe, when he went into that ruck, and also Peter Everett, who did push forward and become a critical player for the St Kilda team. But the Western Bulldogs, they've certainly got to regroup, and they've got a lot of work to do to get back into this contest.
As Terry Wallace pointed out, the game could be blown wide open in this quarter. St Kilda with the breeze. If they can capitalise on that margin, a lead of probably 5 or 6 goals by 3/4 time might be enough.
And Mick, I think we have always underrated Andrew Thompson. I know Lee Matthews is a major rep for Andrew Thompson and doing pretty well on Scotty West. You see him there, man on man.
Yeah, he certainly does feel the body of his direct opponent. That's your ideal starting point, and then push forward to the contest.
Line to Young, missed it. Grant. Collingwood, haven't seen much of him. He's been on the bench, goes at goal, it wobbles, it won't quite get there.
Yeah, the goals he's got to kick, Steve Collingwood. When he gets a chance to run the lines, he's got to put them through.
Wakeland gets it to Peckett, gets it to Burke. That was Shane Wakeland. Burke close to the interchange gates. Croft punches from behind. Darcy gets it back to Brown. On his correct foot, the left foot. That's a bad kick.
He has been pushed back to the half-back flank. He's playing on Nick Winmar. And it was across half-back only a few weeks ago against the Adelaide Crows that he was almost best on the ground, Nathan Brown. So I think that's a fairly smart move by their coach in Terry Wallace.
Hodgson to Peckett to Wakeland, Darryl Wakeland.
It's interesting to see, as Terry Wallace spoke about the half-time break, Todd Curley's actually going with Robert Harvey at this stage.
Kick comes up towards half-forward. Brown again.
Very creative player. He's cut his teeth as a midfielder in junior ranks, but he's got excellent disposal.
On the Morris medal back in 1996.
Free kick to Peckett for high contact in that marking contest by Luke Darcy. Just slings his right arm and hits Peckett across the face. That's clearly a free kick.
I'll tell you what, it'd sting on a day like today. Matthew Young, the former Hawk, at right centre wing. Long kick with the breeze. Punch away by Smith. Couldn't quite clear the zone. Good tackle by Heatley. But it's going to be a stalemate, and it will be balled up 45 metres out from goal. Starting on the bench in the second half from Dipper. Who's there, Dipper?
Thanks very much, Peter. Obviously, Jose Romero for the Doggies is out. Paul DiMartina, Michael Martin and Paul Hudson. And for St Kilda, we've got Gavin Mitchell, Matthew Lappin and Tim Elliott and also Daniel Healy.
Wasn't that a terrific attack by Nathan Burke on the loose player in Nathan Brown, who picked up the ground level ball, but he just really went with the purpose to lay the tackle and try to create a turnover for the St Kilda team in their forward 50.
Low, flips it to the back. Everett does it like a rover. Kicks it, may bounce through. No, it won't. This will be a rush behind. He did well, though. That was Montgomery. And speaking of forward play, let's go to the grandstand and Peter McKenna.
Yes, I think what this game too, Peter's proving what a good defence St Kilda has got now with the Wakeland twins and Max Hudson. I mean, they've really closed down those Bulldogs forwards, except for Grant. Grant's been very impressive. And I want to reiterate what I said earlier, as we said the umpire going to bounce it because Matthew did not dispose of the ball correctly over the line.
Yeah, that's right, Pete. He's got to actually kick the ball over the line.
And getting back to down the other end of the ground, I'm not convinced that two full forwards working in the same area ever works well together. History says it doesn't.
Well, as I said, Pete, they've only had 6 kicks between them to date, so statistically it doesn't. Certainly not today. Maybe on other afternoons could be a different story. Oh, Winmar, good hip and shoulder bump. Darcy gets it back to Brown. Kick wobbles up towards centre wing. Grant, Southern, West. Jones chases.
Got a bounce at the goal now,
Johnson. Still Johnson. Young chases. Good chase. But Cook's there and takes the mark.
Similar scenario to what Robert Harvey did in the earlier quarter, the second quarter, when he found Everett. That occasion it was Brad Johnson who showed great speed to overlap and get the handball from Scott West, but more importantly had the presence of mind to balance himself, knew Cook was free and used the ball in an effective manner now to give James Cook a set shot on goal. Terrific team build-up.
Kicked a goal in the first quarter, similar position, but it was a little bit closer in. Jose Ramiro, as Dipper suggested, might not take any further part in the game. Certainly bad luck for him, equal best and fairest a couple of seasons back for the Western Bulldogs. But James Cook at a 60-degree angle, and that wind really took hold of that, and he puts it through subsequently for one behind. So 1 goal, 1 is tally for the day.
Been a good start by the Western Bulldogs in this term, but they just haven't been able to get a goal on the board, and that's what is going to be of a premium in this quarter. If they can just kick 2 or 3 and be within 4 goals of the Saints at three-quarter time, they'll give themselves a chance.
Young to Brown. Minton Connell stands the mark. Goes back to Harvey, who had a brilliant first half. Oh, Wirra, I thought, got into the back of his opponent, but the umpire didn't share that view.
It looks as though Luke Beveridge thinks it was too. It certainly looked as though he was pushed forward prior to that marking contest, so for some reason the umpire elected not to pay it.
These two have had a titanic struggle. Wine beats Everett on that occasion. It's a pile driver. Kretiuk is the man with the footy. Kolynyuk.
All the Yooks.
The goal kicker hasn't been able to snaffle one today, though. This time Everett wins it.
Rowan Smith, a spare man in defence for the Bulldogs. He'll probably finish up with this one.
Burke from Zilla. Heatley had it. Beveridge, who's kicked 2. Low, yes, a steal! Shuey Low, and he's collared by Brown.
Terrific chase and tackle by Nathan Brown.
It's a lack of awareness also by Stuart Lowe, who thought he looked over his right shoulder and he knew that he disposed of his direct opponent. Have a look at him there, he's spotted, but he didn't know about Nathan Brown coming out of the blind spot.
And just quickly, Jared had a prior opportunity, didn't kick or handball once tackled, so free kick paid against him.
Grant, that was great play. A real David and Goliath situation. Dent eludes Jones, kicks to half forward. Curley. The wind will cart that towards Waverley Garden Shopping Centre and through for one behind.
And it just appears, Gerard, that this sort of setup, when they get greater numbers behind the ball and then they charge through from the back half, it certainly suits the way the Western Bulldogs do set up.
Needed a better finish, though, from Curley. That had to go to James Cook. He was never going to make the distance.
Darcy. Kolynyuk and Brown and Burke. Cook in the front. Kicks it off the ground. Not a bad effort, actually, in the end. Didn't score, but he did get it a lot closer to goal.
One just senses that the Western Bullies have to get a goal in this early stage of the game. In the first 5 minutes, they've certainly controlled most of the footy in this first 5 minutes of the third quarter. A goal is very critical for their overall confidence in this game.
Curley kicks. That's a real up and under job. So no mark will be paid there. Burke to Wakeland, and a rush behind, probably as good as St Kilda could have come away with on that occasion.
Also, Mick, St Kilda doesn't want to waste their opportunities with this breeze, because if they're 3 or 4 goals in it in the last quarter, the Doggers got a big chance.
Is it still strong down there, Dipper?
Very strong.
Thompson to Harvey.
That's a great grab by Chris Grant. And the Bulldogs are looking pretty good at the moment.
Second bite of the cherry. Dent's kick, nearly marked. Maybe should have been marked by Burke. Young mops up. Couple of options out there. Zilla transfers it back to Young. Sierakowski waits. Well,
I think the Bulldogs have just got to find something of a better nature, a better structure up in that forward line. They're winning the ball, taking into the forward 50, but they're not doing it with any purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, fairly haphazard approach. They must find targets on the way through.
Grant measures the pass. Minton Connell nearly. Was he tackled illegally? Gives the hand pass away. Snapped by Johnson. Cook's got it.
And that's better play from James Cook. But one of the few times this afternoon he's been in front.
Oh, poor option. It was. And another Campbell gives it to Ozzie Jones. He's very quick to get boot to ball. Everett in front, Curley behind, nearly kicked out of danger. Could have been a free kick. Winmar, great tackle on Den. Is that holding the footy? Yes, it is. Good tackle. Quick transfer of play. The umpire calls play on. The kick comes down towards half forward. Crediuk got the ball underneath, had to get rid of it quickly. West, tackled by Beveridge. And the Bulldogs a chance to steady through Rowan Smith. Montgomery at right half back. Grant
had a big quarter today.
Yeah, he's certainly presenting himself on the lead. That's the most important thing a centre forward can do. Give options on the way through.
He's covering plenty of territory too. Dent. Croft. Dent again. Good game from Smith. Minton Connell at the bottom of the pack. Couldn't flip it out. Darcy can. Target was Brown. Fickle bounce. Which way's it going to go? It goes the Bulldogs eventually. Now Garlick onto Wirra. Noted as a defender. Doesn't have a shot at goal. Gives it to Darcy. No one on the mark. Sierakowski chases. Darcy kicks, but misses. May have missed everything, or has he got it behind? I think he's just sneaked it in for a minor score he has.
And there's the advantage. He's having a good right side. Predominantly as a left-sided player is Luke Darcy. On that occasion, knowing that the weight of numbers were coming across his left leg, he had to kick the ball fairly hurriedly. Wasn't settled, and on that occasion would have been a better option if he could go to his right side to give himself that little bit of space to settle.
Shane Wakeland's kick low.
Low once again is pushed into the centre of the ground as a ruckman. Everett's now gone to full forward. This time Scott Wine's going all the way.
Heatley has to punch from the back. Croft's got it. Wirra. Dent had a good quarter so far. Bulldogs getting a lot of the football.
Smith.
Curley. Out to Rowan Smith. Loves to run with it. Past Winmar. And Grant again. What a quarter he's having.
Hutchton's now gone to him. It was Darryl Wakeland at the start of the quarter. Now it is Hutchton who's gone to Grant.
Minton Connell on the lead. The situation that he relishes and takes the mark. But against the wind, it's going to be a telling factor.
Well, they've done everything right, haven't they, Peter? Got the ball into the forward line, had some set shots, given them away, and once again we see the value of just that smart chip kick to a leading forward. Now they need to convert.
That was it.
This will test him.
Well, it might be a pass. Maybe it wasn't intended as such. Young, and they're going to run it out again, the Saints. It's a bit of battle of the defences so far. Burke.
Good contest, Croft.
Confronted by Croft, wins the hard ball. Back to Southern, back to Croft. They share it around again. Southern to Brown. Brown to Wirra. Wirra back to Brown. Now Dent again. Garlick. Good chase by Harvey. It's been the talent self he was in the first half. And Grant again having a great quarter.
And isn't he showing his championship qualities as Chris Grant this quarter? He's naturally really presenting himself at every contest. This is a good build-up by the Western Bullies. Grant just out-bodying, just better judgment than Max Hutchison on that occasion. Stewie Lowe had to come to the contest, but Chris Grant typified the champion and his eyes only for the footy and took a well-judged mark, courageous mark. Now a chance to kick a goal for the Western Bulldogs.
But it's this next option that has really been hurting them. They keep going looking for this shorter option that just has turned the ball over so many times. And whilst that's opened up the goal face a little bit, Collingwood is still going to have to put this at the left goal post minimum for it to go through.
Just a little bit too far to the left from Steve Kolonyuk, and he's kicked just the one behind. One of the veterans in the Western Bulldogs squad, debuted against North Melbourne. way back in 1987 when Nick Malthouse was sitting in that position, currently occupied by Terry Wallace. So 62 plays 39. Western Bulldogs' last goal, the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. Peckett, a goal kicker already today for St Kilda. Low, bustled, still able to get the hand pass away. St Kilda desperate to get a goal in the third quarter with the win. Can Peckett give it to them? Down the left flank. Zilla calling for it. Could have done better. Winmar measures it. Up towards Thompson at half forward. Gets tripped over. Curley, tackled by Beveridge. Now Zilla puts it up high. Heatley's there in front. Therefore, they left it for each other.
Everett's free kick, though, Pete,
For pushing the back, Mick.
Well, that was a comedy of errors almost, wasn't it?
And how often you see this in a game of footy, when one side actually controls most of the ball, and all of a sudden a turnover's created, they go down forward. Probably one of the few occasions that the Saints have gone forward this quarter. Now Everett's got a chance to kick a goal. Free kick there, Pete.
Yes, he hipped him out when the ball wasn't within the vicinity. He just hipped him right out of the contest and he had no chance, Everett.
The Spider, from 20 metres out directly in front, kicks a goal.
That just typifies the importance of height in front of goal. That's when defenders start sort of twitching and sort of panicking over finessing the situation, as Croft did on that occasion. But that just typifies the importance of height, and as we know, Everett in that part of the ground is very critical. The build-up wasn't sort of really there for the team, but as both players went for the mark, Croft over finessed in that situation and gave the free kick to Peter Everett. Darcy's gone to the ruck here now, opposed to Stewie Lowe. Peter Everett has been picked up by Scott Wynn at the true full forward position.
Everett given a decent old heave-ho in front of goal and subsequently got the free kick. That should also be a free kick for the same offence, too high. Not the same offence, but an obvious one nonetheless. Darcy close on after Wirra. We come back to Garlick. He needs to be quick and wasn't quick enough. So another costly turnover. Zilla to Winmar, who unaccountably fumbles, and probably for the first time today. But a great first half, Nicky Winmar. 12 and 4. He's only had the one kick in the third quarter so far.
The Bulldogs now got 2 spare players in defence, so they are going to get plenty of spare men in the midfield, the Saints.
Harvey. Heatley and Crediuk. Beveridge gets a terrible bounce. Favours the Bulldogs, could have gone either way. Dent. Saints with the numbers.
Free kick, Pete.
Yes, it is.
Firm contact from the front when Montgomery was just waiting there for the marking contest, so reasonable for him to be paid the free kick. We see Zilla's attempt to look as though he's going for the footy, but clearly just bumps into Montgomery very early.
Montgomery standing at right centre wing on the defensive side of the ground with this strong northerly. Not a long kick. Darcy should mark. So back again. Kovanyuk. Brad Johnson. Brown calling for it. Now Heatley has taken the mark. People in the full back position. Lowe or Young could have taken it. They combine. Young gets past Scotty Wine. Plenty of run in those legs over the head of Crediuk onto Winmar. Just his second kick of the quarter. Winmar down to full forward. Sierakowski, great diving mark. Terrific place in Kilda. They ran it from one end of the ground to the other.
Oh, it's an awesome kick from Nicky Winmar. That was just spot on. He knew it, if he blazed away and had a shot at goal, it would have been a fluke if it had gone through. So he just laid this one up, gave it enough airtime for Sierakowski to get onto it. And it gave it Southern absolutely no chance. But once again, the Bulldogs had an opportunity at the other end of the ground, and they just have failed to make the most of their opportunities when inside their forward 50.
It's actually in that marking contest. Max Hutchin done a terrific job to dispossess and get Grant out of the road.
Sierakowski kicks and he goals.
Also, when the Saints were streaming forward, then Matthew Croft was caught in no man's land when Winmar had possession of the ball. Should have probably stayed back, as we might see on the screen here. Winmar receives a handball from Young, but in between Young and where the kicker is, there's Croft, who actually seen at the bottom of the screen come towards Winmar. He may have been better off sitting back and waiting for the ball kicked to that area of the ground where he may have competed against Sierakowski, who ran hard to the forward part of the ground. A terrific use by Nicky Winmar.
8 individual goal kickers now to St Kilda, Luke Beveridge and Peter Everett. There are only multiple goal kickers. Out of the centre, Garlick, Minton Connell. Did he have the mark? Arguably was taken high.
That's what's been paid, Pete.
Same distance out, but against the breeze, it's going to be pretty tough from there.
Petey kicked a goal similar to in the first quarter from about practically the same position.
They're certainly not out of this game, the Bulldogs. If they can just get a goal or two, they are capable of this win, kicking 6 or 7 goals very quickly in the last quarter. Kick.
He's got it. Quick reply, just what they wanted. Minton Connell gets his second. Joining Chris Grant with 2 goals, the leading scorers for his side.
Great technique, Mick, kicking a ball into the wind. He kept it low. He minimised the gap between his hand and the boot, and he really did push that one in under the wind. Garlick doing quite well in the middle of the ground with possessions. His disposals let him down a couple of times, but under that sort of pressure, that's about the best that anybody can do. And there we saw it, a copybook type of kick into the wind. Magnificent disposal.
6 kicks and 6 marks to Simon Minton Connell with 1 hand pass and 2 goals. Everett, this time Burke, couldn't get clear. Saints fans wanted a free kick for being held when not in possession. Mitchell, oh, wham, bam. He spent a bit of time on the bench, has Mitchell.
A good contest there by Matthew Dent, who's had a fairly good game. He's had 22 possessions, but both players, Mitchell and also Dent, certainly wanted the ball.
Well, Mitchell runs straight into the umpire. Not a bad shepherd, actually. Burke from Elliott on the ground for his first touch. About as far as it's going. Rowan Smith,
who is the loose man, and he's picked up a free kick.
The ball, what's happened actually, yeah, Brett Allen's come down from the mid-zone to explain to Vince Searcy, the umpire in the edge zone, that the ball was in fact touched off the boot. So what had been paid as a mark will now result in a bounce at that spot.
I mean, that's
fairly pedantic.
Totally pedantic. I mean, it's just not what 3 umpires are used for, I don't think, John, because, I mean, you can't have umpires overruling poor free kicks.
No, the ball was kicked from the mid-zone, and the umpire in the mid-zone had control of that, and it was touched. That's why.
All right, okay. Let's get on with it. Thompson makes the ball his objective. Couldn't get clear. Scotty West in there to block him.
So that umpire had signal touch.
Yeah, I agree with you if it's just overruling a bloke, Gerard, but in that instance the ball had come from where the umpire that signalled the ball was touched came from.
Crucial part of the game. 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter with the breeze St Kilda. If the Bullies can pinch another one, they'll be well in this match. Mitchell's hand passes blocked. They may be able to run it out. West couldn't do so. Elliott, you would say, got taken high. He'll get a free kick. Too far out to score. He's kicked it long and high. Everett, the target, and marks. Oh, wow, spread eagles the pack.
Yeah, superior judgment on that occasion. He actually ran about 15 to 20 metres, fairly flat out to that hotspot area. It was a terrific kick, well-weighted kick by Elliott on that occasion. Certainly free kick was there, as we see here by the replay. A poor, reckless tackle by Darcy. There's the kick, give it enough height for Everett, who charged into that part of the ground. Matthew Croft was his direct opponent, gave him too much space between him and the contest. Everett took a terrific mark.
Everett from 45 metres kicks the goal. A real steadier for St Kilda.
Well, Peter, I know that all clubs have players missing in grand finals, but the Saints, with Peter Everett in their side last year, what may well have been a different side. He's just a fanatic.
We'll never know, will we?
Well, no one will know. And really, it's, I guess, wasting our breath talking about it. We're going to, because if he hadn't been playing, he would have been a very difficult man to match up on, as today has proven.
Everett missed the grand final. He's kicked 3 goals today. Out of the centre go the Bulldogs. Brad Johnson's kick short to half forward. Collingwood couldn't grab it. Paddles it cleverly further forward. He's outnumbered. Young, who's been very good across the half-back line. Garlick may get there first in front of Jones. Montgomery gives him support. The boundary line is too close.
Nick, what about Rowan Smith as a loose man? He's hasn't got probably that many possessions, but I just wonder whether or not the Bulldogs don't need his long driving kick up in the midfield, pushing it into the forward line.
Yeah, they certainly do set up from that back half, trying to get weighted numbers across there and charge forward in waves. Rowan Smith might be more value across the true sense of the midfield word.
Elliott. Doubtful hand pass, and it's okay according to the umpire. Darcy steps around a man after taking the hand pass from Johnson. Grant. No mark. Umpire didn't play it. Gee, seemed to have it long enough. Harvey. That could be a costly, turnover and or decision. I'll get John's comment on in a moment. Wow.
Great courage.
That is courage, yes. Smith, Everett late on the scene now. What's going to happen here?
I don't think there should be much in that.
There is.
There is.
Did he take his number or not?
Yeah, he has, Peter. He certainly turned him around, so one would think that he has taken his number.
Let's have another look at it. Everett coming in late.
Nah, Pete Everett had to compete. It's a feel again for the game, John. In situations like that, it looks ugly on television and that, but realistically, Peter Everett had to spoil the ball.
Mick, well, then why did he? Well, I won't say that, but I agree that players are compelled to make a contest of it. But Peter Everett did miss the ball by a long way, Mick. I know you'd be very happy as a coach if he made that sort of contest.
Oh, for sure.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's within the rules.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure Stan Els will be all that impressed with the contact.
There will be a 50-metre penalty paid as well, because that contact was after the mark had been taken. So as a result of that, there was a delay in play. So the 50-metre penalty is paid because it resulted in a delay of play.
And the Bulldogs desperately need Rowan Smith back on the ground as quickly as possible. He'll be stitched up and sent back into the fray.
Dent had a good quarter. Takes the 50-metre penalty. Big leap from Minton Connell. Couldn't bring down the mark. Burke. Harvey. Good bump by Brown. Put him out of business. West tries to open it up. Wakeland. Darryl Wakeland's kick off the side of the boot. Curley, good use of the body. Dent again. Lappin's got him, then lost him. Garlick, good pass.
Important ball by Matthew
Johnson.
Dent, who got his body right behind it.
Montgomery, no one standing the mark. Goes in short to Cook, and Cook marks, taking it in front of Shane Wakeland.
won't have many more important kicks in the context of a game today. Will James Cook? This is a very important kick, trying to keep them involved. And there's Rowan Smith on screen, getting some medical attention.
Yes, very important kick, close to three-quarter time. There's about 2 minutes remaining. Any goal here against the Breeze, well, almost worth double, you'd reckon.
Yes, just reiterating Matthew Dent, there was a host of players going for one ball, and he was the one that ran in straight line with the ball. He kept his body right behind it, and what could have been down in the St Kilda goals is now a shot for the Dogs.
Cook from 40 metres. He's made a bit of a meal of that one, but the ball's still in play, importantly for the Bulldogs. The Saints will try to rush it over for a rush behind, and they do just that.
Chris Grant, well, I think he was robbed of this mark, and let's just have a look at it, John.
Yeah, we forgot about this.
As you said, Jared, normally if a player takes a firm grab like that, which Chris Grant clearly did, and then the ball is knocked out, the mark should be paid, and in my opinion, that one should have been paid.
I think we all agree on that one.
We needed an overrule, Pete.
Stewie Lowe. Lowe's kick to centre wing. Oh, sticky fingers again.
And it's been paid.
And that's his 13th mark for the game. He's been exceptional this quarter as Chris Grant.
Yes.
And their leading possession gatherer is Dent. Now Curley, Saints fans looking for holding the ball, comes back to Grant. Good knock on by Dent. No contest there. Lowe. Ziller. Stretches Minton Connell. Not a good option as it turned out.
The one player for St Kilda who has gone quiet has been Rob Harvey. He's
Yes.
had only 3 or 4 touches in this term.
Montgomery to Dimitita, the kick to half forward. There's Harvey, couldn't take it that time. Good tackle by Burke. West has still got it. Montgomery, they could get a goal here, the Bullies. 10 metres out, what's he done? It will be okay. Martin's got the goal.
And less than 30 seconds to go.
That is a valuable one.
Yeah, terrific running into the breeze by the Western Bulldogs team, and we're certainly aware of their effort in doing that. They are a free-running team who really charge forward when the weight of numbers here. This was just momentum. They just try to finesse situations here in close traffic. First of all, it's a ground level pick-up by Darcy. Quick release to Johnson, who got it into the path of West. But just the weight of numbers charging through to that part of the grounds. Terrific run. Montgomery seeing Martin drifting forward for the overlap. Easy goal. Terrific build-up by the Western Bullies team. They're certainly in this game.
28 points is the margin. It was 26 at half-time, so just about the status quo. Inside the last half minute of the quarter, Wirra's kick, up and under job. Important possession here for both sides. Garlick got a hand to it, but that was all. Elliott tries to knock it forward to the advantage of his side. Jones couldn't regain his footing, and it's going to be a ball up.
They're working overtime on Rowan Smith to get him back on the ground in this last quarter, but it's just a grey, so we should see him back shortly.
Thanks for that, Dipper. 49,000. I must admit I did expect more. The Bulldogs traditionally haven't been great draw cards out here. Darcy picks up just right on siren time, but they're still very much in this contest, the Western Bulldogs. And Stan Alves looking a worried man, although they did outscore their opponents in that quarter. Start of the final term at Waverley. Saints against the breeze. The Western Bulldogs trailing by 28 points. They need some quick goals. Ball shuffled out the side of the pack to Montgomery. Had it and then lost it. Chance for Burke again. No one there. Goes long with the hand pass. West in front of Thompson. Tackled by Everett. Legally, according to the umpire. Now the Bulldogs turn. Hudson. Haven't seen too much of him today. Hudson's kick down to Minton Cottle. St Kilda with the numbers. They'll need to keep them too. Elliott. And they came on late in the third quarter onto Winmar. Brilliant in the first half, but was taken out of the contest during the third term. Justin Peckham from left centre wing. A goal kicker for St Kilda today. He got that in the first quarter. Montgomery chases. Takes him down after he got rid of the football, but play will continue. West, a little flip up to the front of the pack. Wirra was there. Elliott gets it out to Heatley. Danny Southern close to the boundary line. Will he take it over into the point post? It's out of bounds. I'd back Danny Southern over the point post.
Actually, Hodgson
rather painful blow to Hodgson.
Max Hodgson's got a broken bone in his hand. He's had for some time, and that obviously is troubling him.
Help him, Elliott. Chance for the Bulldogs to clear. Johnson. One bounce. Sidesteps Everett. And that's okay. Rowan Smith. Long looping hand pass to the advantage of Curley. Curley at midfield. The Bulldogs going long with the breeze, as you would expect. Cook, a little bit of a nudge out.
Good play, that one. He pushed him to the side. He should...
Still a nudge.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, well done, Max Hodgson. Onto Harvey. That was brilliantly done onto Aussie Jones. Now, Garlick has done a good job on him since quarter time. Burke at right centre wing. Winmar calls for it. Young's there as well. Young to Winmar, intercepting as Brown, the youngster. Former Morris medalist. The bounce favours Hudson. Tackle, sees the ball, jarred free inside 50, and the umpire will ball it up.
And Gerard, just on that situation there, James Cook, he gets paid to kick goals. I know it's a team-orientated thing. You've just got to go back and kick shots on goal to keep the chance to keep the your team involved.
Yeah. On the bench, Dipper.
Yes, Pete, we've got Jose Romero, Paul Diamartino, Luke Darcy, surprisingly on the bench, and also Steve Collinyuk. And for St Kilda, we have Healy, Mitchell, Lappin, and young Brad Campbell.
Okay, thanks, Dipper.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Mick. That one had to go through, and it's that decision to try and lay the ball off when inside 50 that cost him so badly in the third quarter.
It did so unbalanced.
I think he's just trying to give his forward more of an advantage to kick goal, because it is a very strong breeze he was going to kick into.
35 metres out on a slight angle. Peter McKenna, you're the expert full forward. Do you think he should have kicked it?
Oh, look, I think James Cook has got a history of making very dumb decisions, and I think there's 2 or 3 today when he's gone. Look, when you're 30 metres from goal, Gerard, at a vital time in the game, you go back and you have a shot.
Garlick's kick. Oh, Elliott gets a terrible bounce, gives Minton Connell a chance. Hudson wearing him closely. Elliott, Hudson down, scoops the ball out just in time, you'd reckon. Burke gets cannoned into by Martin, and umpire David Howard will come in and ball it up.
Yeah, the Saints, they'll certainly try to just close it up for most of the quarter here, and we just see the effort there by Nathan Burke. Brad Johnson's probably slightly had the better of him in the actual contest on the one-on-one situation, but in that occasion, Nathan Burke just committed himself to the contest and won the ground level ball.
He comes down to the two number 12s, Wakeland and Cook. Shane Wakeland, it's out of bounds, about 5 metres from the behind post. Still the margin, 28 points. Luke Darcy on the boundary line, trying to keep warm, but as Peter McKenna suggested, it's pretty cool. Wind and Everett. Everett, we believe, had his number taken in the third quarter. Wind, looks for somebody, sees Grant, who snaps. Gee, that's not as good as he would have liked. It's out of bounds, right next to the behind post. Cook being brought back on the mark and flattens, I think accidentally, Burke. Walked right into him.
Well, efficiency in front of the goal hasn't been one of the strengths of the Bulldogs today. And Peter McKenna, you saw exactly what happened.
Well, I can't believe the umpire. That was a deliberate charge by James Cook straight into Burke. Yeah. And he should have been pinged for that.
You're right, Pete.
Actually, looking at it on replay, it wasn't accidental. I must agree with you. Croft out to West. Curley calling for it. Went in his direction. Wasn't a great kick. He did well to pick it up ultimately. Brown is a left footer on the right. Squares the ball, and that's okay. The mark is taken by Montgomery. So like the third quarter, the Western Bulldogs having plenty of the football early. Cook and Wakeland with the wind at his back. He goes long. Cook, yes, he's got this one. Surely he will have a shot here.
And unlike St Kilda, who have taken half a dozen marks deep in the forward line, that would be the first one, Mick, I think, that the Bulldogs have taken within 25 metres of goal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. Chris Grant's got a lot of his marks up around the sort of centre wing area, really presenting himself. But James Cook kicks a goal.
Handy one to start the quarter.
Yeah, probably realising that he made a mistake. It's interesting to see James Cook's jumper there. I think there's a fair amount of resin actually across the whole part of that jumper to keep his hands nice and sticky and make sure the ball sort of stays in his hands. But this is a terrific judge mark between two very good aerialists. One, Stewie Lowe, of course, for St Kilda. No mean feat to mark over him in a body-on-body situation. But James Cook knew the presence of the situation, the importance of it, got up and marked, but more importantly, kicked the second of his goals.
Heatley off the ground, he goes to the bench. James Cook joining Chris Grant and Simon Minton-Connell as the leading goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs. They both have 2, and the difference back to 22 points. This time the Saints out of the centre. Burke's kicked a half forward. Beveridge, who's also kicked a couple of goals, onto Harvey. A brilliant first half, but tagged well in the second term. They come from everywhere. Chance for Zilla to have a snap at goal. It's all the Bulldogs down there, and Croft will take the mark.
What a contest between Danny Southern and also his teammate Steve Credial, who's lying down at the moment, may be hurt.
Brown to Wirra. Too quick for Elliott. Dent had a brilliant third quarter. Will he leave it for Garlick? He will. And he's still down, Credial.
So makes control of this football important for the Bulldogs when they're one man down in defence.
Smith.
She's at speed.
Go to goal now.
Young chasing. Should be able to get something out of this. Cook has the sit again. Punch away by Wakeland. Campbell taken down in the tackle. Cook a chance. He looked for a hand pass. Just sees St Kilda jumpers there. And they tie it up again successfully, the St Kilda defenders.
And Gerard, in this situation, you really would be looking for Paul Hudson to stand up. He's had a fairly quiet day.
Sorry, Mick, there's a free kick being paid against James Cook for a high tackle while the ball was dead there. So very, very costly error if in fact it was a justified free kick.
The Winmar's giving it back to Harvey after it came from Hutchton.
Mick, do you think that the Saints have just been in control mode since half-time rather than trying to bury the Bulldogs?
Yeah, maybe they might have had a defensive, but I think the Western Bulldogs have certainly upped the ante and they're really running extremely hard and they're gaining first access to the ball around these tight congestion areas. At the moment, the Saints will have to certainly lift in that area of the game.
Had a goal, the Saints.
Surakoski couldn't get through some pretty heavy traffic, and neither can Danny Southern.
Pete Critical off the ground. Looks like he's concussed. I'll keep you up to date with it.
Yeah, it was a pretty heavy collision, Dipper.
Jared, would you bring Heatley back on the ground now, knowing that Critial's off the ground? He could be the bloke that could provide a goal for the Saints to put him sort of that extra buffer, to give him that extra buffer and a chance to win this game.
Yeah, it's worth considering. Without Critic, he really has controlled Heatley this afternoon.
Wine to Wirra. Wakeland over the top. Martin couldn't control it. It comes to Campbell to kick off the ground, and Campbell marks that centre half back. Young. Now, he hasn't gone over the mark. Now gets the call to play on as he goes wide of it. Pinpoint accuracy finds Peckett. Looks for Stewie Lowe. Croft rearing him pretty closely. That's a very good mark.
Sensational mark by the big fella. He certainly has been a terrific aerialist tonight, and that is his 14th mark at this stage.
Saints with the numbers, or the Bulldogs rather with the numbers. And they bring it out successfully through Dent, but Harvey's there marking in front of Michael Martin.
That blast out of defence really is just a waste of time. If it doesn't go to your opponent, it's just going to come back to you as soon as possible. You're better off grubbering one across the line.
Everett stood his ground well, the big fellow. May have an appointment with the tribunal during the week. He certainly did appear to have his number taken late in the third quarter. And we were speculating during three-quarter time that if that is the case and he gets recorded, well, it may cost him a brown, though. He has, Mick, been in great form.
He certainly has. Over the last 5 weeks, he's really stood up and maybe have got Brownlow votes.
Everett's kick into the goal square. Elliott nearly. Now, there's a holding decision here. It's going to be a Western Bulldogs free kick, and I believe Matthew Croft will be the recipient.
Pete, just to confirm, Everett has been recorded. Just check with the umpires.
Thanks for that, Dipper.
Freddie looks as if he's about set to return.
He was really crunched in that collision. Southern and Sirakoski. Smith, a little gift to Garlick. Jones can't catch him. Garlick, Grant. He doesn't drop too many marks. Grant's kick to Cook. Has a chance to make amends for not taking the mark. Or he had Minton Connell out in front. He goes at goal, and I think he's missed. Well, was that the right play, Peter McKenna? Should he have gone out to Minton Connell?
Well, I think he did have a quick look. He probably thought because of his other crook short pass he wouldn't do it again. But he's been arguing with the umpire for about the last 5 minutes, David Howlett. So they've been in a long discussion. So very interesting. It'd be like to be a fly on the wall, Pete.
Shane Wakeland to Winmar. Darryl Wakeland outmarked by Grant again. Brilliant.
Superstar.
Absolutely brilliant. Certainly worth another look, that one. Not a classical mark, but courageous as well. Garlick. Too far out to score, although with the breeze, it's around Darryl Wakeland. Onto Smith. Now this guy could just about go. Jones has nearly got him. Was that enough to put him off the kick? It's Cook, yes!
He certainly can play football, Peter. There's no doubt about that. If you just solely concentrate on the game at hand and really just get in control of his head, this bloke can certainly play the football, and he can turn a game very quickly because he is a straight kick for goal usually. More importantly, he's got that sort of presence about him in the forward part of the ground.
The Bulldogs look a different side with Rowan Smith attacking, kicking the ball inside the forward 50.
He's got the goal. It's his third.
And Gerard, you actually intimated that earlier in the quarter, in the third quarter. And certainly that move of getting him back into that part of the ground has provided a lot of run and creativity for the Western Bulldogs team. But more importantly, charges through the centre corridor to give his forwards that extra dimension. As we see here, just that quick sidestep to give him that extra 4 or 5 metres, to give that ball some extra yardage. So it placed the 2 marking targets, and Minton Connell will also Cook a chance to mark the ball only 5 or 6 metres out from goal. What a game we've got now, Pete. Sensational contest.
15 points. Approaching the halfway mark of the last quarter. 15 points is now the margin. That's the closest the Bulldogs have been for some time.
Big centre bounce clearance, this one.
And the Bullies have done it again. West, off a step, kicks to half forward. Minton Connell, yes, he's been paid the mark. Well, there was some conjecture whether the 2 full forwards would work. He just couldn't complete it then, Cook. Wakeland to Winmar. Bouncer factor.
Slung out the disposal, so the free kick will come back to Nicky Winmar, Pete.
Well, once again, I just think Connell took the wrong option. Cook led out. The goal mouth was open. All he had to do was kick the ball straight. It would have dribbled across the line.
Winmar's kick needs to be good. It is. Low on the end of it. They'll run it out the other side now, which is the defensive side here of Waverley today, over the head of Hudson. Bulldogs everywhere. Montgomery loves those. Back to Garlick. Calling for it as Wine. You'll go a little bit longer. Over the head of the Bradler medalist and the captain. Winmar is in the road, so too is Stewie Lowe, and takes the mark in front of Cook.
Poor option, because there was a multitude of Western Bulldogs forwards who led directly at the kicker. Scott Wynn was in between. Maybe it would have been a better option just to break it up.
Winmar to Harvey.
Simon Garlick, it's been the big letdown of his game today. Just hasn't made the correct decision when winning the ball.
Harvey clear of Curley. Punch to the front. Wirra. Wakeland. Shane Wakeland's clear. Kick straight down toward half forward. Ball takes a turn to the right and gives Montgomery the chance to get there in front of Everett, the two number 10s. Croft. Still Croft. Martin calls for it in midfield. Goes a little bit longer than that. That's the message. Kick long with the breeze in the final quarter. Low. Good mark.
But surely the defensive players have got to make smarter decisions and just kicking the ball dumbly to centre-half back where Stewie Lowe is. I mean, this will cost the Bulldogs the match if, in fact, they get near enough to Saints.
Well, they can't get a goal. You saw the step when they got their last one. Michael Martin. Cook again. Didn't like the attention of Elliott. But there won't be any 50-metre penalty for that.
Yeah, good set up there. All he has to do is balance himself, James Cook, on this situation. But also Stewie Lowe, credit must be given to his performances here. Here's the replay here. Mickey Martin, terrific effort. Darcy's coming on the ground also. But Stewie Lowe, he's taken 17 marks tonight, and he has been a tower of strength for the St Kilda team.
Absolutely sensational. He may well have gone past Rob Harvey. He really just hasn't got near the footy in this second half.
No.
He's only had 9 kicks. He's on the back.
Well, he's reversed it.
Yeah, free kick against Todd Curley for pushing well off the footy, and as you've called it,
Terry Wallace will be just pulling his hair out in the box. The Bulldogs are just making too many dumb mistakes, which is unlike them as a side.
Waste of opportunity there.
Stewie Lowe. Well, if there's to be a decision that turns this game around, that may very well be it. Zilla. Out to Lowe again. Another mark. Tony Brown. Justin Peckett. Now, if the Saints get a goal here, what a turnaround that would be. 2-goal situation, but Darcy just back onto the ground, takes the mark. West, Peckett, sort of telegraphed that one a bit.
And he had the loose man on the other side of the ground, and I think Terry Wallace is motioning with that paper, bring the football over onto this attacking side of the ground, which is at the bottom of the screen, not the outer side.
Throw in right on 50, right half forward. St Kilda.
Sunk Sprout is really starting to get behind the side now. They know they need a goal to push out, to stamp out this attacking threat from the Bulldogs.
Winmar, Everett in front. Behind, the mark is taken by Credior. Well, what a game we've had. Dent on a Martin. Now he can run, so the instructions were get it to this side. And that's worked so far.
Chris Grant has sprinted 120 metres to get on the end of this kick. That is brilliant athleticism.
And Elliott's gone to the fullback position on Cook. Shane Wakeland's gone forward.
Here he is. Cook leads. Mark. Oh, no, he doesn't mark. Should have taken that one. It's easy from up here. Makes amends. Cook. Campbell's got him. The hand pass to Martin. Should be a goal. 3 metres out. And he's missed. Dear, oh dear. Golden opportunities. First from Cook, and then that one may cost the Bulldogs the game.
Well, once again, another dumb decision, because there were 2 players at the top of the goal square, 15 metres out. A composed player, a Robert Harvey, would have, instead of going for the very tough percentage shot, would have just chipped the ball to the top of the goal square and allowed his teammates to have an easy shot.
Good kick by Campbell. Long, Lappin. Spent a lot of time on the bench today. Would love to get into the fray. Everett the target. Couldn't complete it. Heatley back onto the ground as well. Pressuring Credior, who goes to the boundary line. They will argue deliberate, but it won't be. You would expect a match and nothing less than this match, the top spot on the ladder. 6 3/4 minutes remaining in it. The June Grand Final. Harvey from Wine, the two Brownlow medalists figuring in that passage of play. Fickle bounce. Johnson paddles it further forward. He's out. The ball was in.
No, the ball's out.
And luckily enough for St Kilda supporters and followers, because the Western Bulldogs team was certainly off and away. Paul Hudson would have streamed into the forward 50-metre area. Maybe kicked a goal for the Western Bullies.
He's on centre wing.
He's been one of the players that the Bulldogs really do need to lift. He just hasn't been able to get near the goals this match.
Mitchell grabbed, didn't have the footy. Gives it to Winmar. Young. Desperately need a goal, the Saints. Ziva. Heatley and Everett. Heatley at the second attempt. Sees West intervene. Dual breasted first when a Lappin gets a terrible bounce. Maybe luck's going to play a part in this match as well. Curley's been good after half-time, hasn't he? Hudson from Aussie Jones. He's got him. That's a good tackle. Umpire says play on. Garlick. No support for him.
Terrific play by young Brad Campbell. Oh,
Free kick paid for a high tackle, Mick.
oh.
I think he just tipped hold of him just a little bit longer. Wasn't it great to see two players on two? And you're right, John, there's the two.
Garlick's kick. Turned it over again. Winmar.
Mickey Winmar's been good this last 5 minutes, really pushing back defensively in the back part of the ground for the St Kilda team, repelling a lot of Western Bulldogs thrusts.
Harvey to Zilla. Well, nearly to Zilla. Martin. He's got speed to burn. The mark is taken by Brad Johnson. Trying to crib on the mark.
That tactic's becoming contagious, isn't it, Pete?
Sure is.
And that time that Brad Johnson spent cribbing, Luke Darcy was free, only about 25 metres out from goal. He must kick this goal now.
Distance won't be a problem for him. Neither is accuracy. Certainly a ball game now.
Yeah, there's still 5 minutes of play to go too, Pete. There's a lot of footy left in this contest. As we see, there's only 8 points of difference. The Western Bulldogs have kicked the last 4 goals of this contest, but there's Brad Johnson jailing that goal for the Western Bullies and giving them an opportunity to come out in front at the end of the day. But what a sensational contest we're going to have in this last 5 minutes of play. Will the Saints hang on, or will the Western Bulldogs get over the line?
St Kilda's been in command just about all day. If they get home, they'll stagger over the line, but the Bulldogs are coming at them. They're snapping at their heels with just minutes to go here at Waverley. Centre break's crucial. Harvey calls a throw. The advantage is going to be paid. No, it's not. Aussie Jones with the free kick. Winmar. St Kilda desperately needing a goal. Sort of a tackle by Lappin.
Yeah, top decision by the umpire. Matthew Dent was in and under and
had just taken possession of the footy, Gerard, so it would have been certainly no prior opportunity to dispose of the ball.
And at half-time, Terry Wallace also mentioned the double teaming aspect on Robert Harvey. Brad Brewer has now got the job on Robert Harvey.
West. Well, they're just running it out again, the Bulldogs. West from Martin. Peckett. Went up one-handed. He may be able to get back and do something with it ultimately. Off the ground. Not a bad sort of an option. Couldn't quite get it to the boundary line. Finally, he does so.
well, it just staggers a little bit the Saints. They haven't kicked a goal for some time, and the Bulldogs are just starting to believe that they can win this game. They are now running in numbers, and I'll tell you what, Mick, it's difficult to see where the next St Kilda goal is going to come from. They have got Everett sitting up there in the goal square.
Kick away by Johnson. Winmar in the road. Burke looks for Harvey. Harvey around the boundary line. Montgomery was up. No one comes down with the footy. It's a ball up. That will certainly suit St Kilda.
Daniel Healy about to come on. He is a notable goal kicker. Stanells knows that he needs another goal to get away with this. If there's still 8 points, if they don't kick another goal, I don't think the Saints will finish up winning.
I think you're right. Darcy. Handy bounce, terrible kick. Campbell. Spiral punt kick off the boot. Knocked away by Critiuk. They need speed here. Healy's there. So too is Curley. Healy takes him down in the tackle. That's a brilliant tackle by Dent.
Fantastic to see all the players, but just throwing themselves at the balls. His desperation stakes.
It is here.
Sensational down here at ground level. Every player's using their voice, just pushing their teammates on.
No prize for second today.
What a matchup. Wind and Everett in the goal square.
Southern wins that one. He's tried hard all day. Nathan Burke. Terrible kick. Scotty West. Oh, runs straight into Everett. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. Lappin, can he kick a goal? It's coming back. It's coming back. He's kicked one. What may do it?
Yeah, Matthew Lappin, who spent most of the time on the interchange bench, he's came on at this last part of the game. He's had 2 kicks, 1 mark and 1 terrific tackle just before. But more importantly, he's pushed forward here. Andrew Thompson once again involved in the contest. Matthew Lappin, right place, right time. And as we know, he's a very skillful young player. That's a terrific kick across his body to give that little bit of a buffer to the Saints team, knowing there's only a couple of minutes of the play remaining.
Well, we said we couldn't see where the next goal was coming from. Lappin bobbed up with it. Perhaps an unlikely goal kicker, but a very valuable 6-pointer. Now the Bulldogs not only need a reply, they need a couple more. Garlick. Hudson underneath it, went up with one hand. They may get a quick reply here. Hudson, Burke dives on it. Minton Connell the tackle. A quick kick out of the congestion to Winmar, back to Young. Young has a look over his shoulder. Low behind him says go. Stewart's Young inside the square. Lobs it over the top to Ozzie Jones. Confronted by Dent. Still Jones gets the hand pass back. Thompson could kick the sealer. 25 metres out. Has he kicked it? Touched on the line by Scotty Wind.
25 metres out.
Should have done better.
I think the old fatigue factor, Jared, was a part of that. Andrew Thompson's worked tirelessly all day.
Yep.
He's been terrific for the duration of this game.
Time, the essence of the contract for the Western Bulldogs. They've got to get it down the other end
Call
quickly.
the play on.
Darcy, yes.
Ron Smith will. He'll come straight down the middle of the ground.
He's at left centre wing. Young chasing. Smith the half forward. Sirakoski underneath it. Winmar will have to get back quickly. Or did he hold Grant? Umpire lets it go. Harvey will be keen to get this over the line if he can. It's taken over by Johnson in the end, as it turned out. What a contest for top spot. Crowd has certainly had its money worth. Darcy, Jones. Garlick is all tied up.
And that's all you have to do in that situation from the St Kilda team. Really just tighten up the situation. We see the call here from Luke Darcy, getting the ground level players away from the contest, trying to give them some space to work in.
Young on Darcy, good tackle. Holding the man decision, as it's turned out. West is going to take the free kick.
He's got Stewie Lowe dropping back in the goal square, so he may need to go for a shorter option.
Your best and fairest, Minton Connell. Hudson, big leap over the top for the punch away. It might be good enough. The Saints may be able to pinch it now. Peckett. Justin Peckett short of half-back. Kicks to centre wing. Lappin, the goal kicker. Critiuk's got him. Couldn't quite hold him in the tackle. Montgomery loses out to Heatley. Heatley the quick hand pass. Back to Lappin was brilliant. Kicks up towards Everett. Couldn't complete the mark. Ball falls to the ground again. Lappin. Critiuk. Everett, the spider. Kicks and kicks it out of bounds on the full. But it's up that end. So Saints fans breathe a little easier. Danny Southern with the free kick.
And defensively, hasn't Steve Critiuk done a terrific job? He's only had possession 6, 1 and 5, but defensively he's done his job on Jason Heatley. And that's all you got to do in that part of the ground.
Bruce Dool type effect. Sirakoski punches away. Martin from Scotty West. Kick back towards centre wing. There's the siren. And the Saints have gone to the top of the ladder. The grand final in June was a thriller, as we expected it would be.